It was amazing to me how I hated Zabuza at the beginning of this chapter, and just a mere 15 or 20 pages later, he had redeemed himself, and I actually liked the character.
Naruto number 32. The tool's called Shinobi.
Hey man, who you calling a tool?
Damn, is this a powerful tale. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and awe-inspiring and just redemption-filled tale of Naruto. Our last chapter saw us, of course, with Kakashi and Zabuza just kind of, you know, in the midst of it. And Kakashi has already messed up one of Zabuza's arms, so he's left with using just his right arm, it looks like. And right at the end of the chapter, you know, he had Kakashi had gotten kind of the drop on him. It was like, you know what, you're done. You just don't know it yet, you know. So that's how things left off. I thought that I saw the feet, the lower half, and the cane of that Gato guy, and that's how the chapter left off, and that's where the chapter picks up over here. We wind up seeing Kakashi, and as Zabuza goes to swing his sword, it looks like Kakashi dodges it, and then it looks like he goes and he stabs him straight up through his arm, and then even afterwards he goes and he says, now you don't have the use of either one of your arms, you know, no chakra, no spells, no nothing, right? And so he's obviously limited him on that, and is about to go and finish him off. And when he's about to go and finish him off, that's when all of a sudden you go and you get that Gato, and it was him. He kind of appears, and he's down at the other end of the bridge, I don't know, 20, 30 feet away from the battle, whatever, not very far away. And he starts talking his shit. And, you know, about how, he says, you know what, he goes, you were always going to die anyway. He goes, you didn't think I was actually going to pay you, did you? And he goes in, and then basically this is where we get he's a real scumbag, right? Hiring a real shinobi that wasn't like an outcast like Zabuza is, that's expensive. And obviously if you screw them over, that'll piss off their friends. People will come for you, right? So the more economical way that this piece of trash does business is he goes and he hires this renegade, this reject, this outcast, right? Knowing full well that nobody will care if he winds up double-crossing him and killing him. And then he goes in and he's like, listen, you know, then you go and you hire some common thugs to finish off the job. We'll let you shinobi are just tools, man. We'll let you guys just go and fight it out over here. And then I'll have my thugs just kind of clean up the mess of whatever is left over, you know? So I'm thinking in my mind, what a frickin' scumbag, man, all to get out of paying a bill, you know? And then he goes, and as if to add insult to injury, and don't get me wrong, Zabuza has had it coming, but I ultimately like how he turns around in the redemption of him by the end of this chapter, but we'll get to that in a minute. But he goes, and to add insult to injury, he goes and he says, and you know what? He goes, the demon of Kirigakuri. Yeah, that's great. You know what? He goes, that's false advertising. He goes, maybe a baby demon, you know, and just completely goes and just trounces any thought or hope that Zabuza would have, right? So then, as he's going and he's approaching, he winds up coming over and he's over Haku's dead body that's laying there, his dead, lifeless body, right? And then he's like, oh yeah, and I got a score to settle with you. And he goes and just kind of smashes or kicks in his face, you know, and you just sort of see like this blood flying from this piece of meat that's there. Now at this point, Haku's been dead for a few minutes or whatever. And Naruto flips his shit, man, and he's just like about to go at him, and Kakashi goes and grabs him, and he's like, are you crazy? You know, think before you act. They would overwhelm us. You see how many people are over there, you know? And at this point, Gato's just being a piece of shit to be a piece of shit. And, you know, as he smashes Haku's face in, you know, he's like, yeah, and, you know, you nearly broke my hand and this and that. If you remember back when Gato and his couple of thugs came and tried to visit Zabuza when he was, you know, near death and trying to recover, you know, 10 chapters ago, whatever it was. And Haku obviously, you know, stopped them cold and stopped Gato in his tracks. But nonetheless, so I thought it was done very well. And we get Zabuza, and it's funny because Naruto goes, and I actually want to read some of these panels over here, because Naruto goes, and when that happens and he steps in his face, he freaks, right? He's just like, what the heck are you doing, you creep? And then he's like, hey, why don't you do something? He worked for you. He was practically your slave. He's talking to Zabuza about Haku, right? And then he's like, and I love this, and he's just like what? Haku is dead. Naruto goes, but you should care. That fat scumbag is desecrating him. He was your comrade, your partner. He worked for you for years. And then I really do like what Zabuza says here. He's just like, Gato's been using me, and I used Haku. Weren't you listening? It's a shinobi's lot. All of us are either users or tools or both. And I definitely like that, right? I didn't value Haku for himself, but for the taint of his blood that his blood carried and for what his talents could do for me. I apologize for nothing. And then I really like that, you know, just how he said that and basically just like, you know, screw that. So then we go and we get, you know, Kakashi's like, stop it, Naruto. Leave him alone. Our quarrel is over, you know, besides which. And then you get Naruto, shut up! He's still my enemy. And Naruto goes just balls to the wall crazy. And he's like, he really cared about you. And I'll just read the Naruto parts, but there's parts where it shows the flashback of Haku, and obviously, you know, him standing for something stronger and having this love for someone and everything else. And he's just like, he was devoted to you, but you think that's just nothing? That he was nothing? You don't feel a thing? Are you really that heartless? And as they're showing this, they show panels of Zabuza, but only from behind, right? Is that how you get when your powers are as strong as yours are? He gave his life for you. He died without any of his dreams. He died without any of his dreams ever coming true. To die as his tool, that's too much. It's too cruel. And Naruto's bawling at this point. He's crying. I was freaking crying, you know. And then you get Zabuza, man. And I like this, man. This is the redemption part for me. It's just like not another word goes into it. And you can see that Zabuza was actually crying as well, right? And then I love that how he says, you know, he didn't do it just for me, just for you. Zabuza goes on, and he winds up saying, it's cool how he says it. He's like, you know what? But the truth of the matter is, not only did he lose that battle, but he broke his heart. He broke his heart over you and your friends. You know, he saw people around his age that didn't have to live the life that he did and maybe felt that love or acceptance, and he really didn't want to kill you, you know? And I love it, too, because then Zabuza goes and he's like, I'm honored that my final battle was with you, you know? And I thought that part was really, really well done, you know? And then it's really cool because we go and we get Zabuza, and he's just like, you know what? He goes, and he asks Naruto, he goes, can I borrow one of your kunai? Now, remember, both of his arms are fucked. He's got no strength in him. He can't move them very well. They're kind of just flapping around there because Kakashi took care of them. So Naruto tosses it to him. He's like, yeah, sure. He puts the kunai in his mouth, right? He puts the kunai in his mouth, and I know what he's going for now, right? And he knows he's been used by Gato and everything else, and he's going to go down in a blaze of glory, boy. And that's what I like about this, man. This is straight up. Anybody who ever saw the end of the movie Young Guns, man, when they're trapped in the house and they just go out in style. A couple of them wind up dying, a couple of them get away, but ultimately, man, you got to watch the movie because it's really very much like I don't care. We're just going to take as many of them with us as we can. And that's absolutely, and I love this too, and he's just like, some of the guys, as he's coming towards him, and Gato's telling everybody to file in front of him because he's a pussy with a dick with eyes, you know. But anyway, he goes, he's like a demon, and you kind of can see the demon aura around Zabuza, right? And then as Zabuza goes and starts running through him, he's running through trying to get through everybody. And remember, again, he's got this one kunai. And I loved it because he's taking swords and he's taking knives and he's getting stabbed in the back and he's getting probably shot with arrows and he's getting hit with shuriken and whatever, man. He's getting hit in the head with bricks. Basically, this gang of thugs is just beating on him as he's trying to go and push himself and run through and use his momentum to get through the crowd. And all he wants to do is get to Gato, right? This little smirky looking piece of shit midget mother. And then he goes and he winds up getting finally to him, which I thought was great. As he about gets to him, you know, he's just like, I have no intention of going to the same place as Haku. And then, you know, we get Gato, what are you babbling about? And he's just like, I'm taking you with me to hell. And I love how he did it, you know, and he's just like, even an ogre in name only, a washout from Kirigakuri village, can become a real demon in how he meets his death. Once we're in hell, I can take my time and show you over and over who is or is not a baby demon. And then you get this awesome thing where it looks like the way it's done, it looks like he just lopped Gato's head off. You got it. Either way, he fucked him up and he's done, man. Just got him with that kunai. And it was just such a beautiful redemption for him. Afterwards, you kind of just see him standing there. And this is powerful. You get the look in his eyes, right? And I hope those of you that, I know I just flashed this up here quickly, but those of you that own the volume or obviously can look online, you know, hope obviously you can follow along. Because I thought this was so powerful at the end, you know? And it's just, please keep me beside you. It's goodbye now, Haku. Thanks for everything. And I'm sorry. And it's cool because you just see the silhouette of Haku, right? And just kind of that pure, innocent child's face, you know, that just had this, it had this demon within, this strength, this power that, you know, was inherited. He didn't want it, you know, he didn't want to be like that. It just was. And then you got Zabuza finally going and coming to the realization that, you know what, I'm sorry for using you. I'm sorry for what I did. And man, what a powerful, powerful tale this is, man. And I tell you, That's how the chapter ends up. And my chapter question for you is, brothers and sisters, is what are your thoughts on Zabuza and his kind of redemption? It is amazing how in 20-something pages or 20 pages, he could go from being this hated enemy that in my last review, which I just recorded 15, 20 minutes ago, before I read this chapter, you know, I wanted to kill the guy. I mean, I literally wanted to like rip off his head and shit down his neck, right? And then to go and have that redemption, and by the end of this, the last few pages, I was rooting for him, and I was like, Zabuza, 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 you know, and I'm fucking waving the flag for the guy, and just because I thought it was a great tale of redemption. But let me know what your thoughts are, brothers and sisters, in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, nation.
Well, I think most of us can agree that breasts are just lovely, lovely globes of awesomeness. Anyway, if you would like to follow me, you can do so over on my other channel, on Facebook, or even on Twitter.